The Agency Principles Podcast with Doug Baxter and Simon Morgan.
What a buyer really needs to see is that I'm confident that the agency is in a place that we can help them accelerate from and into a mutually beneficial future.
That a lot of indie agency owners just aren't aware of the options that are open to them.
Hello, my name is Doug Baxter, Agency Futures, and you're very welcome to the fourth episode of Agency Principles. Most agencies separate creativity and technology. One side thinks and creates, and the other side builds and implements. And sometimes, well, quite a lot of times, things get lost in the middle. Mindshaker was built differently. Our guests on today's show, João Almeida and Luís Correia of Mindshaker in Portugal, have spent the last 20 years proving that creativity and technology are not separate at all. They're just different expressions of the same thing. In today's episode, João and Luís will be telling us how defining the problem is actually half the solution, how they've approached developing their talents, and what it actually feels like to be a 13-man team as part of a 3,000 people network.
Hello, Doug. It's nice to talk to you again.
I think what makes your guys' story so interesting is you've built something very, very deliberate. You're not intentionally looking to just scale this business. You've got some very strong philosophies that guide how you are creating something quite deliberate. Can you talk to me a little bit about the philosophy that underpins your agency, Mindshaker?
João and I, we worked together around the year 2000. And from that time, we had some ideas that we would like to create an agency where ourselves would like to work at. It's something that we believe we can achieve to build a space where we can work and be treated and treat people as we like to be treated. Almost all the steps in terms of personal development and professional development.
And try to build a culture where you can balance your day-to-day with your professional side and be creative using what we do best, that is technology. All around that, we give it a twist. We are not, as you said, we are not 100% creatives or designers or techs. We move around those categories.
It's really nice to hear when you describe your philosophy. It's very much about the human elements. So that's fantastic in these times in particular. I would see you a couple of weeks ago and you were talking about this, how you deploy tech. You said, when a client comes to you with a problem and what they see as the solution, you don't always say, yes, this can be done. You push back on that. So I'm interested, can you tell me a little bit about what your response is and how you approach that?
Many times the client brings us almost a solution to the problem and say, we need to build something, and the thing that we need to be built is this. And we always make questions about it and try to dig and try to make sure that the problem is really well identified. And this for us is a really important moment, because if you can identify your problem clearly, you already have half of the solution. Because if you are trying to solve a problem that don't really exist, or it's not the core problem, we can deviate from the main objective.
No, I get it. And in doing so, one of the things that I think is interesting is you guys have worked with a lot of big brands in Spain and Portugal. You've worked with a lot of big agencies, but yet you've chosen to remain quite small. You're just 13 people, and occasionally you scale up using advisors and consultants. Is that part of the philosophy? Does that enable you to stay lean and agile, or how do you look at it?
Your values, the values that Luís and I defend and want to pass through the team, takes time. to develop. And we have done this for these past years and pass our culture and our passion about solving the problems that way. The number of people in our team was never a KPI for us. We need to grow based on the talent and based on the projects that we have. We need to go step by step and make sure that the culture doesn't melt if you go big.
The startup should be profitable. That is something that must make sense to exist, not just to grow. So the size was never an issue for us. We don't plan to be a big company with lots of employees, and because that comes also with some issues and several problems to develop. I believe that the projects always comes in waves, and sometimes we have more projects than we can handle, and sometimes that need lowers, and when that happens, we have more resources than we can handle. Prefer to take our steps to grow slowly, but continues to grow.
I know that agency owners will be fascinated by one thing that you've done, which is to create these hybrid roles. You were talking to me when I visited about this new hybrid role that you've created, that is a cross between a technology lead and a project manager. So can you explain to me in the day-to-day operations, what led you to develop that role and how is it working?
We have a thing that if you are only an engineer, you don't even are an engineer. So you need to be more than that to really grow your potential as an engineer. And for you to do a good job as an engineer, you need to know about the pains of everyone around you. The project manager, the strategist, the guy in the market department, all of those, the design, the pixel perfect implementation, all of that, you need to have notions about this. We don't ask an engineer to be a designer, but if an engineer tries to understand the mind and the problems that designer is solving, then you start connecting and building bridges between all that people. And we make a lot of effort bringing this knowledge to the engineers. And we have engineers that are their own project managers and talk directly to the agency or directly to a client, because we put a lot of effort building the design notion and the strategic side of this.
And Lewis, you're much more defined on the finance side of the equation. Can you talk to me? Because I know a lot of agencies struggle with investing in that level of training and mentoring and time away from work. How is that structured in terms of the support that people get for training? Is that a big investment financially from the agency?
It's something that everyone here needs to invest at their own pace by themselves. They need to gain skills and get new ways to do things. It's like that story of the lumberjack that needs to sharpen his axe from time to time. We always try to find time to sharpen our axes to continue to build more, to build better, and to have better ways. These skills are not only technological skills. And going back to your question of the hybrid developers and persons that we have, if the project manager is only passing things between the client and the developer, there's no need for a project manager. Sometimes our developers have developed skills to talk to the client, to take the problem to themselves and help the client better define things and better explain what he needs to be done.
One of the things that all agencies are talking about more and more and more is the role of AI, both as a technology and also as a workflow efficiency tool. How do you guys see it? How do you use it? How do you build it into your process?
There is an issue with AI. Everything is too fast. After 1 month, things are not true as they were. Everything has changed, and we need to embrace it and to adapt. In Mindshaker, we try to use it. We are not first an early adopter of every technology because we need things to settle down a bit. We pick up things a bit later on the path until they are proven, they are more stable. But we need to be aware, and we are aware of everything that's going on in terms of development. We are embracing AI. Every developer is using AI to increase the skills they have, to have a bigger output of his time and the things he can do. And we are beginning to start moving this to the clients and trying to see how AI can help our clients. I still believe we have desperate need for human in the loop. We need to be in the middle, trying to make things work.
And we are using AI in programming, but we are using AI for project management, for reports, for building better proposals and better projects, more clear projects with more detail. And we are embedded AI agents to solve tasks that we don't want to invest too much time on it. So they are delivering more with the same people that we were in the past.
I understand. I know you've worked with brands since you first started. Many of those continue to be your clients, which is fantastic. But also you work directly with a lot of creative agencies. How does the working relationship change between working directly to a brand and working to an agency?
It's a different project. So with the agencies, we are more on the tech side. So we share the two first phases of a project, the consultancy, then the prototyping, and then the deliveries. But with the final client, we deliver all the end-to-end solution.
In the end, we are just trying to be partners both with the clients or with the agency. In the agency, we try to augment their capability and try to integrate the agency as a joint team.
One of the things that you emphasized, and I know I used to run a creative agency that worked with a development partner, and we tended to turn to them when we needed things done quickly. And speed is something that you emphasize in your delivery. How do you make speed happen in a technology creative agency environment?
For us to make a quick project, we need to be really aligned with the agency. We need to have a clear vision on a timeline and where we have the milestones, and be really seamless in this. So we try to prevision the roadblocks that we could take ahead of us and try to remove those stones from our path. And the relation that we have built with the agencies gives us this flexibility because they know how we work. They know how the milestones and approvals are important to a fluid process. So again, working with the agency and not for the agency is the key for the success. We have one example that I think it's really cool. A big agency called us because at that time the Meta had delivered an SDK 1 week earlier to build an augmented reality project for a brand here in Portugal. And they have two options: or talk to someone in the United States with 1 week of experience on that technology, or they know Mindshaker if we want to accept the project. And of course, we said, yes, we want to do this. And in 1 month, we have learned the SDK and delivered the project, but with a lot of negotiation with the creatives. So identify if we go that way, we don't make the project, but if we simplify things, make things good, but a little bit simpler, we can deliver. And the project was a success, and we start building that relation with the agency and develop other projects.
And I think if you can boil it down to that simplicity and then really try to understand how you can deliver power into that solution, that's a great place to start.
But making simpler is hard to do. We used to say that we need to deliver the best project possible within the limitations that we have: time, money, tech, and will to do something.
Moving on to where you guys are now, since 2022, you're part of the Plus Company ecosystem. This is a very famous global network based out of Canada, I believe, which includes very well-known agency brands such as Croisette, We Are Social, and many other brands. How has it changed you?
A lot in terms of validation, some validation of our skills. We are working with Cassette in several projects. With K72, we are partnering with We Are Social Singapore, and recently with We Are Social Iberia. We are working a lot with them, and we see that quality and our deliverables were in the right spot. And this open our minds and start thinking bigger and expanding relations with agencies outside Portugal and outside Plus Company too. So we are working with other agencies.
How do you make that dynamic work? You're a 13-person agency in a plus agency network, yet you've managed to develop contracts in We Are Social in Singapore, Croisette in Canada. What does it take in order to elevate your presence and do great work within the network?
First, we need a lot of creativity to manage all the projects that we can support and be really clear mind of where we can add value on that. I believe we have the right size to make special projects, not the big company with 100 heads to respond. So we need to pick up well the projects that we develop.
So as you look ahead 3 to 5 years now, guys, what is it you think you're building towards as you look into the future? How would you like to develop over the next 3 to 5 years?
I think we need to continue the company and our culture as we have. Joining Plus Company has opened a bit our minds and the way we look at things. So I think now we are prepared to grow.
Build more relations with other agencies in Europe and United States. I believe this is the path.
Great. And if you were to start again, I mean, it seems like you've achieved a massive amount. You've maintained your principles. You've developed a core philosophy. You've embedded yourself and succeeded in an international network. It seems like a vast amount of achievements since you've done. If you were to start again tomorrow, what would you change? Is there things you would reprioritize? Is there things you would do differently? Are there things?
Yeah.
Based on our experience with Plus and talking to several agencies, they have validated our model. And in the end, it comes down to relations and to people and the way you connect and the way you meet and create a relation with the people in the several agencies. I would try to be more open, try to increase our network and try to not only in Portugal, but also in Europe or even in the United States and Canada, to increase our presence and try to connect to more people and more agencies.
Another thing that I will definitely change is hire slower and fire fast. This could be strange to hear and strange to process, but we have done some mistakes in the past. Hire very fast and fire very slow. So this was an identified error that we have changed. For a person to enter Mindshaker, will be a longer process, and if it fits with our culture, we try everything to do that. But if at some point we see that we need to go different path, it's better to close faster.
That sounds like a very good way to approach it. I think that's a lot of really, really good philosophy and ideas for agency owners that we got out of today. So thank you both very much for today, and we'll see you soon. Obrigado.
The Agency Principles podcast was brought to you by Doug Baxter and Simon Morgan from Agency Futures. If you like what you've heard today, please follow or subscribe to get the latest updates.